Hello and welcome back, all my fine aviation enthusiast friends. This is Greg. Welcome back to the Airplane Show. And I tried doing this one. I tried streaming it, and it just doesn't seem like these Apple devices wanna cooperate with this particular app, because once again, like halfway through the flight, the mirroring app and connection and all that failed and froze, and I tried to bring it back up again and it wouldn't reconnect the mirroring. And so anyway, so Aerofly doesn't seem like I can stream it. So anyways, what we're gonna do today is a nice little flight with the Baron B-58, and all we're gonna do is fly from VOR to ADF to VOR, not programming any navigation in, just flying based on the CDI gauges, the OBS gauges. So that's what we're going to do. So let me show you the route that I built in Navigraph. This took me a few days to figure out exactly where and I wanted to fly. I wanted to do about an hour long flight with a few different, types of, frequencies to use. And yeah, so this was a lot of fun to make. I like making these videos. I like making all the videos, but this one in particular was a lot of fun. Again, my name is Greg. I play a pilot on the interwebs only. In real life, I am nowhere close to a pilot. But if you so could be so kind and, maybe comment on my video, share my video, hit the subscribe button, hit the like thumbs up, that would greatly help me out. I certainly do appreciate it. And let's get into this. Let me show you the route that we're flying today. So here we are flying from Bellingham International in Washington, USA to Seattle Payne International. We're going to take off, head north, pick up HUH, then AP, which is a ADF, then YYZ, which is a VOR, then FHR, which is an ADF, then CVV, which is the beginning of our approach, which is a VOR, and then from CVV, we're going to pick up the localizer and ILS and land the bird using ILS and glide scope landing. Now let's show you this little couple of seconds of what your job is today watching this video. Let me bring up this here clip. Alright, first thing we got to do is fire up this bird. This bird's pretty easy to fire up. It's only, I don't know how it is in real life, but in the simulator here, let's get rid of this here yoke. Yoke? No, yoke. Alright, we got to turn on the battery switch. So let's turn this on. Now I'm recording my voice after I've recorded this video, so I'm trying to match what I'm doing with what I'm saying. But anyways, we need to turn on the avionics, which is that button I just clicked right there. And then now we got to turn on all the avionics. So the bottom one we're going to turn on. Well, let's get rid of this yoke. I'll just use my finger. It's easier just to tap on the screen and get rid of it. Now there's 4 panel light switches down there. I'm going to flick. I don't know if these actually work. I've never seen a difference in the cockpit, but we're going to flip them anyways. So let's turn on the receiver for the ADF. Here's our DME equipment. I'm going to turn this on, even though we don't use it. We don't need to send a transponder code or anything to anybody. So, all right, let's turn on Nav 2 and Comms 2. And now we're going to turn on Nav 1 and Comms 1. Now I'm going to program in the first frequency. So we're going to fly on a heading of about 340 to 344 to the HUH VOR. So that one is 113. And now I'm going to program in the second VOR, which is the third stop on the trip. That's YYZ, that's 113.7. Now we're going to program in the 2 ADFs that we need. So the inner ring just does the last digit. The outer ring does the other 2 digits. So now we can hit this middle white switch and flip-flop them. So now we have AP programmed at 378. Now we're going to do FHR, which is 284 kilohertz. So we're going to program that chumpy in. There we go. All right. Now we got all that programmed in. Let's go up here and hit Flight Director and program in our altitude. So I'm using the outer band. That does it in thousands. The inner band does it in hundreds. Turn off the Flight Director. Come on, Greg, you can do it. There we go. All right, turn it off. Now I believe we're going to start the plane up now. So now that all that's said, I don't know if these fuel boost switches help, but I put them on high. Usually, you know, getting fuel into the engine when you start up is a good thing. So that's what we're going to do there. Let's open up some fuel. Let's move these all the way up. All the way up. And let's move the throttle up just a little bit. And now just turn on the engine, click on it, spin it to clockwise, hold it for a few seconds, and the engine will start up. And now we're going to do number 2. And that's about it for getting everything started up. Let me put in the correct course for nav 1. So we're going to plug in 340. Yep. And we're going to do the same thing here. This moves to CD. Oh, no, we're going to do heading first. So heading, if you notice on the HUD up top, there's pink numbers. So you can see exactly what you're dialing in at any point in any plane just by looking at the HUD. So, and then I'm going to match the CDI needle. And now I turned on that DME there for nav 1. And now let's program this for, what am I programming this for? Yeah, for the second VOR. There we go. Nav 2 doesn't really come in handy at all until the very last leg of this trip when we're catching the VOR. I mean, when we're catching the ILS. So let's turn this for, I believe that's a 205 heading. So we got a little bit of time before we need to get there, but now if we program it now, it's one less thing we got to worry about later. All right, let's put on some lights. Yep, let's sync up the props. Put on the pitot switch. And I think we're about ready to taxi out to the runway now. This takeoff was really shitty, to be honest. Like I took off from the grass. I was trying to do the view where like I'm at the tower. So it was a weird angle. I couldn't really get a gauge on if I was going straight or not, and I wound up taking off from the grass. So I mean, we got up in the air. We didn't crash or anything, but this is one of my worst takeoffs. So you know, have fun, have a good laugh. But we still got up in the air. All right, let's taxi out to the runway, and we'll talk again here soon. told you it was a bad takeoff. All right, autopilot on. Now let's hit the nav button since we got nav 1 programmed, and hit VS, and we're gonna go up. Let's try. I think I do 1200 vertical feet. I think I increased it to 1500 at one point, but we're gonna set that. And now, as long as we got the correct course programmed in, the navigation system will direct us the correct way. So it's gonna spin us around, and the navigation goes off of the OBS dial down on the bottom left of the screen right now. It doesn't do anything with the yellow CDI needle. It's all based on the frequency you plug in and the OBS 1 or OBS 2 dial. So we're gonna let this thing go, and we're pretty much set for our first waypoint, the HUH VOR, that we're gonna intercept flying a course of 340. And you know, we'll make a couple small corrections here and there possibly, but for the most part we're just gonna let this plane do its thing. We got the flaps up, we got the landing gear in, and we are on our way. Programming in the next VOR, which is YYJ, that's 113.7. Plug that into the DME equipment. It's not showing anything because we're so far out. We are getting ready to turn, so let's hit our heading button. Now I already have the 246 course programmed in, the 246 heading. We're now making our turn to the AP ADF. See, we're about a mile out from the HUH VOR, so it's a good time to start making the turn. On the very bottom left, that dial there, that's our ADF indicators. So we're gonna keep an eye on the yellow one, because that is for ADF 1, and we have about 28 miles, about 27 miles left until we get to AP. So we have plenty of time to get on the correct course with the ADF. I'm twisting OBS1 for 246 because we are flying from the 246 radial from HUH. So radials radiate away from the VOR, and we are flying away. So the little triangle, the little flag on nav1 is showing from. We're flying from the 246 radial at a heading of 246 to the AP ADF, and we'll try to get as close as we can to 246. With the ADF, ADF is not exact because, you know, it's a very entry level, very old way of navigating. It does the job, but it's still kind of old technology. Anyways, let's continue our flight. We're going to continue our ascent to 12,000 feet, and I will catch y'all back in a few moments. Alright, so we're about 26 miles from the HUH VOR. We're going to get ready to make our turn on a 205 heading to YYJ. Let's first put the frequency into nav1. There we go. Down. That's programmed in. And we got heading mode selected. And now we're going to turn our heading to 205. With these planes, since they don't go super fast, I try to start the turn about a mile and a half out. I'm a little late with this one, but we'll be okay. And now we can hit the nav button since we are on a VOR frequency again. And now the navigation will hopefully get us on the correct course of 205. Now let's switch to our next ADF frequency and have that ready. And we are all set. Let's program in nav1. Let's program in the CVV, which is 117.20. And we're going to get nav2 loaded up for that. And we're going to get the OBS2 dial set for that CVV. Just for reference, that's going to be a 128. So we're going to set that to 128. And we are good to go, my friends. So right now, the DME underneath the CDI, I don't have it on the correct nav setting, which is why it's showing the mileage that it is. It's picking up nav 2 right now, so I think I catch that, and I think I fix it here momentarily. I do catch it and fix it, but I don't remember if it's right now. But right now we are all set. We're not going to descend until we get to the CVV VOR. So I think we're going to need about 40 miles roughly to descend. We need to descend 10,000 feet because the ILS captures at 2,000 feet. So we need to descend 10,000 feet. That's typically about 30 miles with a 3-degree glide scope. I'm going to leave a little bit of extra room just because we're in a kind of slow, twin prop jet airplane, whatever it's called. So I'm going to leave a little bit extra space. So I'm going to go about 40 miles. So anyways, we're all set for this leg. Let's continue, and then we will pick up again when we get ready to change our course to the FHR ADF. Alright, my friends, we are less than 2 miles away from YYJ VOR. I already have 109 programmed in. Let's hit the heading button. And now we're going to turn on a heading of 109 to the FHR ADF, which I have programmed in. And again, that's going to be on the bottom left, that yellow needle. That's going to be our ADF indicator. So now we are going to do our best to catch that 109 correct to FHR. We got about 22 miles to FHR, and then we'll get on to the last leg of our trip to catch the last VOR station before we get to our destination. So, and again, when we get to FHR, that's when we are going to begin our, I'm sorry, when we get to CVV, that's when we're going to begin our descent. So we're good right now with 12,000 feet. As you can see on the DME indicator there, we are 20 miles away from the YYJ VOR, so let's turn our heading to 128 and have our plane turn. We're now making our turn to the last VOR station, which is CVV. So let's twist that to turn or twist. I don't know the terminology. We're turning our heading to 128 right now. We have to program in the 117, so now we hit that button to switch over our frequencies, and now we can hit navigation, and now our autopilot will direct us to the CVV VOR at a 128 heading. Let's hit our VS button, and let's descend about, I guess, about 12 to 1500 feet per minute. I have it at 1,000 right now. I do wind up going down to about 1,500 for a few minutes, and then I go back to about 1,200. I just don't want to be too fast. So, we're going to monitor our descent, but we have begun our descent, and navigation is programmed, so we are all good to let the plane do its thing. And I will talk to y'all when we get ready to make our turn towards the airport. about 2 miles out from I'm from CVV, so we're getting ready to hit our heading mode. Right now I'm twisting nav 2 to the course we're getting ready to fly. I'll explain momentarily. Let's hit our heading button. I already have 096 programmed in. So we got that programmed in, and since we are flying away from the CVV VOR, we are flying on the 96-degree radial, which is why I programmed nav 2 for 96. Now we're going to program in right now. Nav 1 is going to be for our ILS, so let's twist or turn, whatever it's called, nav 1 to a course of 163, which is our ILS course that we're going to capture. When we get closer, those needles will do its thing, but nav 2 we got programmed in for 96, so we can get on track with that, and we are all good to go. We're going to make a few corrections here and there. I also have the DME programmed in for nav 2 right now, so it's going to give us our distance away from the CVV VOR, because we need to make our turn towards the runway at about 19 miles. About 19 miles from CVV is when we need to make our turn. So we got 96 programmed in. We are good to go. And let's continue, and we will catch up again when we get ready to make our turn towards the runway. I'm going to make a few small corrections here and there with the heading so I can get on the right course, but we will be on the correct course well before we get to the spot where we need to turn towards the runway. We're about 18 miles away from CVV. Momentarily, our needles are going to come alive for the ILS. It's like magic. Look at that. The CDI indicators coming into view now. OBS nav 1. The vertical line is starting to come into place. So now we're going to make our turn towards, and the localizer is captured. Now, if you didn't catch it before, I pushed the approach button on the autopilot before I started talking. That armed the localizer and the glide scope. And now the plane will do all it can do to get us on the correct course of 163. The glide scope will not capture until we're about 5 miles out from our airport. Once we get to about 5 miles, the glide scope should capture, but the capture point is 2,000 feet according to the chart, which I will bring up here. Now for you, let me show you the chart so you can see the ILS we are flying today. Here's the chart for our landing today, ILS Y, or localizer Y for runway 16 right. So that's what we are doing right now. There's no need to make that that circle that it has there, since we're flying on a course where we can intercept it directly. Now let's get back to our landing and let's see if we can land this bird. I'm gonna give you a little secret. This was a soft, buttery landing. Yes, sir. right, let's disengage the autopilot by pushing the autopilot button. I'm not using my cursor because I'm in the mode where I'm flying the plane. So we turn the autopilot off. Now we got manual control of this airplane, and let's get a soft, a buttery, a touchdown. It's so pretty. It actually was a very good landing. Actually, I haven't landed a plane like this in a while in this simulator, so I was a little skeptical of if I was going to do all right, but I got it on the first take. No need for a take 2 or an edit or magic behind the scenes. Look at that. Nice, soft, the softest, the most buttery, softness, butteriness, touchdown. A soft, buttery touchdown. Yes, sir. That's what we just did. Soft, buttery touchdown. I'd like to take this moment to thank everyone that checked out this video. Hopefully you made it this far in the video. If you do, I love you. I love you anyways. But please take care of me by clicking the subscribe button, clicking the thumbs up, leaving me a comment. I certainly do appreciate it. My children's appreciate it too. Yes, we all appreciate it in my household. But be good to yourself. Be good to other people. Certainly be good to me. This is Greg, your internet pilot, telling you that we're going to do another simulator soon. I don't know which one or what simulator or what airplane, but we're going to do it together. We're going to have fun flying above the skies of Mother Earth. That's right. Until we see each other again over the friendly skies of our very, very special planet that we live on, this is your internet pilot Greg signing off. See ya.